The gavel slammed down like a gunshot in the marbled courtroom, echoing off walls that smelled of old money and fresh lies. Alexander Harlan is hereby declared legally deceased, the judge intoned, her voice flat as the paper she signed, sealing my fate before I'd even drawn my last breath. I wasn't dead. I was just the son they'd buried alive for a 7-figure insurance payout. Their golden boy traded for cold cash on a humid Atlanta afternoon. Rain hammered the windshield of the stolen Chevy as I floored it down 85, heart pounding like a war drum, the rearview mirror alive with flashing blues and reds. You're nothing but a disgrace. Dad's voice snarled in my head, his Bible-thumping rage from that final fight replaying on loop. Me coming out, him swinging the family heirloom clock that cracked my skull and started this nightmare. Behind me, the life I'd fled burned. A closet of secrets, a lover's ghost, and parents who'd cash in on my tragic accident before the blood even dried. The sterile beep of the heart monitor was the first thing that pulled me back, a relentless Morse code drilling into the fog of my skull. My eyelids fluttered open to a world smeared in fluorescent white, the kind that made everything feel like a bad dream you couldn't shake. Tubes snaked into my arms, anchoring me to a bed that wasn't mine, in a hospital room that reeked of antiseptic and regret. Mr. Harlan? A nurse's voice, soft southern drawl cutting through the haze. You're awake. Praise the Lord. I tried to sit up, but pain lanced through my ribs like shattered glass. Harlan. That name hit like a freight train. Flashes. Dad's furious face, Mom's silent tears, the screech of tires on wet pavement. I'd been driving, running from the blowout argument at home. Atlanta suburbs, that cookie-cutter colonial they'd mortgaged their souls for. I'd told them about Jamie, my boyfriend of 2 years, the guy who'd made me believe love wasn't a sin whispered in church basements. Dad had exploded, called me an abomination, and in the chaos, I'd grabbed keys and bolted into the storm. What happened? My voice cracked, raw as sandpaper. The nurse, a sturdy woman with a cross necklace glinting under her scrubs, patted my hand. Car wreck, sugar. You were lucky. Folks found you flipped in a ditch off 285. Been out cold for 3 days. 3 days. My phone, where was it? I needed Jamie. Needed to hear his voice, that low chuckle that always grounded me. She bustled out, promising a doctor, leaving me staring at the 4 drips hypnotic sway. The TV mounted on the wall flickered to life on mute, some local news channel. A photo of me flashed, high school graduation shot, all awkward smiles and gelled hair. Then Mom, porcelain perfect in pearls, dabbing her eyes for the camera. Our Alex, gone too soon. He was our everything. Dad beside her, stone-faced, arm around her shoulders like a shield. Gone. The ticker scrolled. Alexander Harlan, 24, declared legally dead in probate court. Family receives $2.5 million life insurance settlement. The room spun. Declared dead? Me breathing, bleeding, alive? A sob clawed up my throat, but it came out as a wheeze. They'd done it for the money. That policy Dad had bitched about premiums on, the one he'd taken out when I was 18. Just in case. Just in case their queer son became a liability they could profit from. The crash was their gift. No body needed for a quick declaration if witnesses saw the wreck. Cops probably bought the story, runaway kid, bad weather, tragic end. I ripped at the tubes, panic surging like fire in my veins. No, this wasn't happening. I had to get out, find Jamie, expose the vultures who'd birthed me. But as alarms blared and feet pounded down the hall, darkness tugged me under again. The last thought a prayer. Don't let them win. When I woke next, it was to handcuffs. Cold steel biting my wrists, a cop looming like a bad cop show extra. Easy there, son. You're not going anywhere till we sort this. Sort what? The doctor, a harried man with glasses perched on his nose, explained in clipped tones. Identity fraud, they thought. My wallet was gone from the wreck, but prints matched the deceased Harlan. The family had already claimed the body, well, the idea of it, and the payout was wired pending final docs. Call my boyfriend, I rasped. Jamie Reyes. He knows me. He'll vouch. The cop's eyebrow arched. A flicker of something. Pity? Disdain? Crossing his face. Boyfriend, huh? Alright, we'll try. But hours dragged into a gray limbo. No Jamie. No calls. Just the drip of reality sinking in. My parents had poisoned the well. Told everyone I was dead. Probably spun tales of my demons. The gay son who'd spiraled into tragedy. And Jamie. God, where was he? By evening, a social worker arrived, clipboard in hand. Elena Vargas, mid-40s, with kind eyes that didn't match the system's cruelty. Alex, honey, this is messy. Your folks, they're influential. Church board, country club set. They've got lawyers circling like sharks. She sat, voice dropping. But you're alive. That's gotta count for something. Something? I laughed, bitter as black coffee. They killed me for cash, Elena. What now? She leaned in, conspiratorial. We get you safe. New name, new start. Witness protection light, Georgia's got programs for folks like you. Domestic fallout, they call it. Folks like me. Code for queer kids cut loose by blood that turned to venom. I nodded, numb. No fight left. Not yet. That night, dreams clawed at me. Jamie's hands on my skin, gentle in the dim of our tiny midtown apartment. Dad's belt cracking against the banister as he roared scriptures. The twist of metal, rain blurring headlights. I woke sweating, the cop gone. Elena's card clutched in my fist. Discharge came at dawn. Papers signed under the alias Ethan Cole. A duffel of thrift clothes. A bus ticket north. Head to New York, Elena whispered at the Greyhound lot. Rain sheeting down like judgment. Big city swallows secrets. And call this number LGBT Center up there. They'll hook you up. The bus rumbled out of Atlanta. Skyline shrinking in the grime-streaked window. I was a ghost now, legally erased. But ghosts could haunt. And I would. Starting with finding Jamie. If he thought I was dead. Christ. The pain of that imagined his grief twisted deeper than any rib crack. Miles blurred into memory. Jamie and I had met at a dive bar in Little 5 Points. Him nursing a beer after a brutal shift at the garage. Me hiding from a family dinner where Mom pretended my phase would pass. He'd slid over, all easy charm and grease-stained forearms. You look like you need saving, he'd said, grin crooked. 2 weeks later, we were tangled in sheets, whispering futures over takeout lo mein. He knew my folks' poison, hated them for it, but loved me fierce. We'll build our own family, Alex. No Bible bullshit. Now, I pressed forehead to glass, whispering his name like a talisman. The insurance money would buy them a new facade, a bigger house in Buckhead. But I'd claw back from the grave piece by jagged piece. New York hit like a fever dream, neon pulse, honking anarchy. The Hudson's briny tang cutting the bus exhaust. Port Authority's underbelly swallowed me whole. Hustlers hawking fake watches. Tourists gawking. A drag queen belting show tunes for tips. I emerged blinking into Times Square's electric blaze. A nobody in a hoodie 2 sizes too big. The LGBT Center was a squat brick building in Chelsea. Rainbow flag limp in the humidity. Inside, rainbow murals and the scent of instant coffee welcomed strays like me. Fresh off the Bible Belt? The intake guy, Marcus, chuckled, handing me a clipboard. Mid-30s, buzz cut. Tattoo peeking from his sleeve. A phoenix. Fitting. We see your type. What's the damage? I spilled it all, voice cracking on the probate part. Marcus whistled low. That's some Greek tragedy shit. Alright, Ethan, bunk's yours for a month. Job leads tomorrow. And therapy mandatory. Unpack that baggage or it'll eat you. Bunk was a cot in a shared room. Snores from 3 other guys syncing with the A/C's rattle. I lay awake, staring at water stains like Rorschach ghosts. Jamie. Had to find him. But how? Social media? Our old number? He'd mourned me by now, probably. The thought gutted me, him alone. Thinking love had ended in twisted steel. Morning brought fluorescence and a warehouse gig. Stocking shelves for a queer-owned bookstore in the village. Dusty tomes on Auden and Baldwin. Pride pins glinting in bins. My boss, Lila. was a wiry dyke with a nose ring and zero patience for pity. "Work hard, cry later," she barked, tossing me a vest. It was mindless. Lift, sort, repeat. But the ache in my chest eased a fraction. Normalcy's bandage. Weeks blurred. Shifts bleeding into support groups, where stories of rejection echoed mine like a chorus. "My ma burned my letters," one guy shared, eyes hollow. "Dad said God tested him with a fag son." Nods rippled. I stayed silent, my tale too raw, too fresh. But in the quiet hours, I'd slip to an internet cafe, fingers hovering over keys. Jamie Reyes, Atlanta mechanic. Nothing. He'd vanished too or hidden. Smart man. One night, rain lashing windows like Atlanta's ghost, Marcus cornered me in the kitchenette. "You got that look, Ethan. Haunted. Spill or I'll make you." Beer in hand, non-alcoholic house rules, I cracked. The wreck, the declaration, Jamie's absence. He listened, then slid a card across the formica. "Private eye. Discreet. Does runaway cases. Cost ya. But." Hope flickered, fragile as a match. I pawned the Timex Elena slipped me, Dad's old watch, ironic, and met the PI, a chain-smoking broad named Rita in a Hell's Kitchen walk-up. "Kid, this is revenge porn without the porn," she drawled, ash flicking. "Your folks lawyered up tight, but Atlanta PD owes me. Gimme a week." The week was agony. Double shifts, nightmares of gavel falls, Jamie's laugh fading like radio static. Then Rita's call, bingo, boyfriends in Philly, mechanic shop, Royce Auto. Moved after the funeral. Drunk half the time from what I hear. Address incoming. Philly. Close enough to taste. I booked a Bolt bus ticket, heart hammering. What if he didn't believe me? What if grief had armored him against miracles? The shop squatted on a gritty South Street corner, bays open to the autumn bite. I lingered across the street, hood up, watching shadows lengthen. There, Jamie, bent over a Honda's hood, wrench in hand, that same faded Braves cap tilted back. Taller than memory, leaner, shadows under his eyes like bruises. My chest caved. Alive. Him. I crossed, legs leaden. "Jamie?" He froze, tool clattering. Turned slow, face ashen. "What the fuck?" Voice wrecked, like gravel and ghosts. "It's me, Alex. I'm not dead." His eyes, those warm hazel pools, widened, then narrowed to slits. Wrench raised like a weapon. "Get out, before I call the cops. You think this is funny? Parading around like my dead boyfriend." "Jamie, please." I stepped closer. Rain from earlier still dampening my collar. The crash. Parents. They declared me dead for insurance. I woke up in a hospital, no ID, nothing. Been rebuilding. For you. Laughter, sharp and hollow. Rebuilding? Try burying. I buried you, Alex. Empty casket, your ma sobbing like an Oscar winner. And now? Some look-alike ghosting me for kicks. He advanced, breath whiskey-tanged. "Who put you up to this? Your fag-hating daddy's sick joke." No. The word died in my throat. Betrayal's knife, twisted by his pain. "Look at me. Scars from the wreck. Left temple. The one you kissed 1,000 times." I pulled hair aside, revealing the jagged line. He faltered, wrench dropping. Fingers grazed the mark, trembling. "Holy shit." Then, collapse. Arms crushing me, sobs racking his frame against the brick wall. "Thought I lost you. Every damn day." We clung there, world narrowing to rain-slick pavement and pounding hearts. "Never again," I whispered, but in his grip doubt lingered. My parents' shadow loomed, money-greasing wheels I'd yet to face. This reunion? Just the spark. The fire was coming. Philly's skyline glittered like fool's gold through the grimy window of Jamie's one-bedroom above the shop. The Schuylkill River a dark ribbon below. We'd stumbled up the stairs after closing, his hands mapping my face like braille, confirming I wasn't vapor. "How?" he kept murmuring, between kisses that tasted of salt and disbelief. Bruised lips, tentative at first, then hungry, as if devouring the void I'd left. We crashed on his lumpy couch, thrift store Afghan pulled tight, his head on my chest listening to the heartbeat they tried to silence. I traced the new lines on his face. Crow's feet from squinting at engines, stubble rougher than before. "Tell me everything," he said, voice muffled. So I did. The hospital haze, Elena's lifeline, New York's concrete jungle swallowing my alias. The PI's fee, the bus ride's terror. He listened, fingers interlaced with mine, thumb stroking knuckles like a vow. "And your folks," his tone iced over. "They just cashed in." I nodded, bile rising. Dad always said I was a disappointment. The crash was perfect. Witnesses saw the flip. No body hunt needed in the storm. Probate judge was a golf buddy. 2.5 mil, wired overnight. Jamie's jaw clenched, a muscle ticking. Bastards. I went to the funeral, Stood in the back, black suit itching like chains. Your ma wouldn't look at me. Dad shook my hand. Said it was God's will. God's will. The phrase curdled. I'd grown up choking on it. Sunday sermons where fire awaited sinners like us. Mom's whispered prayers for my cure. Coming out at 22 had been my rebellion, Jamie my anchor. Now, their greed had weaponized faith. "I want them to pay," I said, voice steel. "Not just money. Justice." Jamie shifted, eyes searching mine. "We? Or you?" "We." The word hung, fragile bridge over the chasm. 3 months apart, me dead, him grieving, had carved changes. His apartment screamed bachelor drift. Pizza boxes, unopened mail, a half-empty bottle of Jack on the counter. But the fridge held my favorite, sour cream and onion chips, and a photo of us at Tybee Island, wind-whipped and laughing, taped inside the door. "We," I affirmed, pulling him closer. Dawn crept in, painting his skin gold. For the first time since the gavel, I felt solid. Not a ghost, but a man with a fight. He called out sick that day. First time in years, he grumbled, and we plotted like fugitives. Rita, the PI, looped in via burner phone. "Chalk and cheese, kid. Your parents lawyered up with Hargrove and Stein, big dogs. But there's cracks. The insurance adjuster? Shady. Paid off for fast-tracking. And the cop on scene? Your dad's deacon. Conflicts galore." Hope sparked. "Dig deeper. Emails, witnesses, anything." Jamie paced, brewing coffee strong as his resolve. "I'll front cash from the shop. We're in this." But shadows crept. That night, over greasy cheesesteaks at a corner joint, Jamie's phone buzzed. Unknown number. He answered, face draining. "Yeah." What? "No, that's impossible." Hung up, staring at me like I'd vaporized again. "Who?" Dread pooled. "Atlanta PD. Said a concerned party. Tipped them. Some guy matching your description spotted in Jersey. Want me to confirm if you're alive." His laugh was mirthless. "Your folks stirring the pot. Afraid the payout bounces if you resurface." Panic clawed. They knew. Or suspected. The money was theirs, but loose ends like me? Liabilities. "We go public," I said. "Press, social. Blast it wide." Jamie shook his head. "Too raw. They spin it. Grieving parents, hoaxer son. We need ironclad." He squeezed my hand across the Formica table, scarred knuckles rough from wrenches. "Trust me. I've got your back." I did. God, I did. But trust was a muscle atrophied by betrayal. Nights blurred into a rhythm. Him wrenching till dusk, me shelving books via remote for Lila. Evenings tangled in sheets, bodies relearning maps. Love-making soft, reverent, no rush, just reconnection. "Missed this," he'd murmur, breath hot on my neck. "You." Yet fissures formed. Jamie drank more, shadows deepening. "Can't sleep without the booze," he'd admit, bottle glinting in lamplight. Grief's hangover, he called it. I'd hold him through tremors, whispering Atlanta memories. Midnight drives to Stone Mountain, his hand on my thigh, radio crooning Springsteen. But doubt whispered. Was I enough to pull him from the brink? Rita's next drop hit like thunder, docs. Emails from Dad to the judge's clerk. Expedite for the family's sake. And a bank transfer to the cop. $5,000. Donation. Watergate light, she snorted over the line. but provable. Sue for fraud, emotional distress. You'll bankrupt him. The plan crystallized. Return to Atlanta, confront, court date. But en route, betrayal's second act unfolded. We stopped in Richmond for gas, Jamie slipping inside for snacks. I waited, engine idling, when a black SUV pulled alongside, tinted windows, Georgia plates. Heart stuttered. Dad's ride. Door flew open. A burly guy in chinos lunged, grabbing my arm. Mr. Harlan wants a word. Struggle, fists, curses. Then Jamie's roar from the pumps, tackling the thug. Chaos. Blows landed, gas spilling, sirens wailing in distance. We peeled out, bruised and breathless, crossing into North Carolina before collapsing at a motel. Who the hell? Jamie spat blood into the sink, ice pack to his eye. Them. My voice shook. Hired muscle. They won't stop. In that Fleabag room, neon vacancy, buzzing outside, truth crashed. My war wasn't just mine. Jamie's shop, his life collateral. He cupped my face, fierce. Fuck him. We're endgame. Kiss sealed it, desperate, affirming. But as he slept, I stared at the ceiling's water stains, resolve hardening. Stronger, yes, but at what cost? Atlanta loomed like a scar. We drove in shifts, playlist heavy on Johnny Cash. Ring of fire indeed. Suburbs unchanged. Manicured lawns, megachurches spiking the sky. My old street, though Buckhead's elite enclave, now sported a for sale on the Harlan's colonial, shiny new BMW in the drive. Confrontation at dusk, shadows long as accusations. I rang the bell, Jamie at my flank like a sentinel. Mom answered, pearls askew, martini in hand. Alex, whisper, glass slipping. Then Dad, bellowing from the study, what in God's name? Inside, air thick with bourbon and hypocrisy. You're dead? Dad snarled, face purple. Court said so. I am to you, I shot back, slapping Rita's dossier on the oak table. Emails, transfers, evidence gleaming. But alive enough to ruin you. Mom crumpled, sobbing. We thought. The crash. The money for your sister's wedding, the debts. Debts. The lie cracked, revealing rot. Dad's gambling, lost in poker dens. Mom's pill habit masked by church bake sales. Me, expendable prop in their salvation play. Jamie stepped forward, voice thunder. You killed him. For chips and scripts? Monsters. Dad lunged, fist cocked. Echo of that night. But I sidestepped, years of resentment fueling grace. No more old man. Cops arrived, tipped by me, cuffs clicking like karmic punctuation. As they led him away, Mom's eyes met mine. Not remorse, but calculation. You'll regret this, Alexander. Family's all you have. Wrong, I said, arm linking Jamie's. I built my own. But victory soured quick. News vans swarmed. Prodigal son returns. Parents arrested in fraud shock. Reporters hounded, painting me hero-villain hybrid. And Jamie? Distant, phone glued to ear. Shop's fine, he'd mutter, but worry lines etched deeper. One night, post-interview glow faded, he cracked. Got an offer. Big rig shop in Denver. Double pay, benefits. Denver, not Philly, not us. And, heart plummeted. Thinking, solo, this mess? It's your hurricane, Alex. I love you, but I'm drowning. Betrayal, fresh wound. Not malice, but fracture, grief's fault lines widening under pressure. So I'm the ghost again? He flinched. No, just need air. Door clicked shut, leaving me an echo. Dawn found me packing, bus ticket west. Stronger? Maybe. But alone. The road stretched endless. Love's embers banked but not out. Human enough to hurt, resilient enough to rise. Denver's thin air hit like absolution. Crisp, unforgiving, stripping illusions bare. The bus wheezed into Union Station at midnight, mountains hulking silhouettes against a star-pocked sky, promising reinvention or ruin. I crashed at a hostel in Lodo, bunk above a tattooed vet named Cal who snored like freight. Rockies eat weaklings, he grunted over hostile coffee, eyeing my duffel. What chewed you up? Family, I said, simple as a scar. Ethan Cole now, fully, new ID from Elena's contacts. Clean slate etched in bureaucracy. Jamie's text burned in my pocket. Sorry. Need time. Love always. Always. The word mocked, a half-life tether. The rig shop was a beast. Cavernous bays echoing with air tools, diesel fumes thick as regret. Foreman, a grizzled ex-Marine called Buck, sized me up. Lean frame, haunted eyes, and nodded. Wrench Turner? Prove it. I did. Hands steady on a Freightliner's underbelly, grease blackening nails like war paint. Shifts swallowed days. Dawn to dusk, engines growling symphonies of escape. Nights belonged to the city. Brew pubs in Rhino, where murals exploded in color, and dive bars pulsing with live bluegrass. I avoided mirrors, but crowds? They cradled. A poetry slam at the Mercury Cafe. Voices raw, spilling queer anthems and ancestral aches. One poet, Lena, all fire and locks, pulled me on stage post-set. Your vibe screams story. Spill. Over IPAs I did sanitized but true. Parents' greed, Jamie's fracture. She nodded. Fierce. That's not end, that's intermission. Build from ashes, me Ray. Her crew became mine. Artists, activists, a chosen tribe stitching my frayed edges. But ghosts stalked. Rita called monthly. Harlan's crumbling. Dad's trial, fraud, perjury. Mom's flipping for immunity. Spilling on the cop. Justice ground slow, but inexorable. I testify come spring. Atlanta summons looming like a noose. Stronger yet? She'd tease. Scraping by, I'd admit. Truth, Jamie's absence hollowed me. Dreams of his laugh, his weight pinning me playful. I'd wake gasping, fist in sheets, the bed too vast. Enter Theo. Brewery regular. First spotted nursing a stout at the communal table. Sketchpad open to charcoal mountains. Tall, lanky, with wire-rimmed glasses and a mop of chestnut curls that begged fingers. Environmental engineer by day, doodler by night. His lines captured Denver's wild heart, veins of rivers like lifelines. We collided at trivia night. Me solo, him with a rowdy bunch. Name that Supreme Court case, Obergefell? The MC barked. I nailed it, Theo's table whooping. Post-game, he slid over. Legal eagle? Or just lucky? Lived it, I said, pulse quickening under his gaze. Green eyes, sharp as pine. Conversation flowed. Atlanta drawls versus mountain twang. Bad breakups. The ache of reinvention. Lost my way once, he confessed, pencil twirling. Came out senior year, folks in Boulder froze me out. Slept in my truck till community college pitted me. Echo. I shared snippets. Crash, not death. Betrayal, not just blood. He listened, no pity, just nod. Survivors Inc. Wear it proud. By closing, numbers exchanged. A spark kindled. Not wildfire, but steady glow. Dates unfolded gentle. Hikes in Rocky Mountain National Park. Elk bugling at dusk. Picnics by Cheeseman Lake. Theo's sketches unfurling like secrets. He drew me once. Profile against aspens, eyes fierce. Framed it for my efficiency walk-up. See? Not broken. Bent maybe. Beautiful. Love crept. Unhurried. Kisses in his studio apartment. Paint-splattered floors. His hands tentative. Reverent. Tell me when it's too much, he'd whisper. But it never was. Theo mended without erasing. Honored Jamie's scar. Let me mourn. Grief's a guest, not landlord, he'd say, quoting some therapist poet. Yet conflict brewed. Atlanta's shadow lengthened. Court date set. Media sniffing my trail. Reporters cornered me at the shop. Ethan Cole, alias for Harlan Air? Buck running interference with bear hugs and grunts. Piss off, vultures. Worse? Jamie's emails. Sporadic. Heard you're west. Good for you. Miss the old us. Guilt gnawed. Was I betraying him by blooming? Or honoring by living? Climax crashed in February's bite. Subpoena arrived. Airmailed threat. testify, or contempt. I flew south, Theo insisting on coming. Partners, remember? Partners. The word warmed, but terror chilled. Atlanta Airport. Same humid slap, ghosts in every gate lounge. Hotel room sterile as memory. That night, Theo's arms anchored me, but dawn brought reckoning. Courthouse steps. Cameras flashing like accusations. Protesters waving signs. Justice for the forsaken. Inside, the gallery hummed. Mom, pinched and pill-popped. Dad, shackled, eyes venom. His lawyer, slick as oil, painted me opportunist. Resurrected for revenge, your honor. My turn. Stand, voice steady. They didn't just declare me dead. They erased me. For money. For comfort. But love, real love, doesn't bend to greed. Exhibit A, the emails, transfers. B, my scars, photos from the wreck. C, Jamie's affidavit, emailed last minute. He was my world. They stole him. Tears pricked. I blinked them back. Stronger. Cross-exam. Isn't it true, Mr. Harlan, you fabricated this? Revival for attention. Lawyers sneer. No, I rebuilt. In Philadelphia. In Denver. With people who see me. Glance to Theo in the back, his nod a lifeline. Verdict. Fraud upheld. Sentences pending. Dad to prison. Mom community service. Restitution ordered. Outside, press mobbed. I pushed through, Theo's hand in mine. Proud, he murmured. But betrayal's final twist waited in baggage claim. Jamie, leaning on a pillar, duffel at feet, saw the news. Had to come. Air thickened. Theo stiffened beside me. Alex, it's complicated. To Jamie, what now? He shrugged, eyes red-rimmed. Closure or restart? Your call. Heart tore. Theo's quiet strength. Jamie's raw history. I can't, I said, voice breaking. Not like before. But thank you for loving the ghost. He nodded, hug brief, fierce. Be happy, man. You earned it. Walked away, into the crowd, a chapter closing soft. Theo waited, silent. You okay? Better. Kiss, airport bustle fading. We boarded together, mountains calling home. Spring thawed Denver's iron grip, dogwoods blooming defiant along the Platte River Trail, a reminder that scars could soften into stories. The restitution check arrived in April, 6 figures, blood money laundered through courts, deposited into an account I'd opened under Ethan's name, a firewall against Harlan ghosts. I funneled it smart. Shop tools for Buck's Garage, scholarship fund for queer youth via the Center Back East. Pay it forward, Theo advised over breakfast burritos, his curls sleep-tousled, glasses fogged from steam. Turn poison to pollen. Life wove tighter. We moved into a shotgun house in Sunny Slope. Creaky porch, wildflower yard, windows framing Pikes Peak's eternal watch. Theo's sketches colonized walls. Us at Garden of the Gods, red rocks cradling our silhouettes. A phoenix over Atlanta's skyline, flames licking probate halls. Mornings. Coffee black, his engineering briefs scattered like confetti. Evenings. Him strumming guitar, me tinkering with a restored 72 Chevy Nova. Radio crooning Dylan, the times they are a-changin'. Love deepened, roots delving past infatuation. Theo's vulnerabilities surface slow. Panic attacks from old rejections, nights pacing when deadlines loomed. I'd brew chamomile, pull him to the swing, stars wheeling overhead. You're enough, I'd murmur, echoing words he'd gifted me. Vulnerability's reciprocity, queer love's quiet revolution. Conflict simmered external. Dad's appeal dragged, appeals court sniffing technicalities. Mom's letters arrived, forwarded, perfumed pleas for reconciliation, veiled barbs about my lifestyle. I burned them in the backyard fire pit, ashes swirling like exorcism. Human enough to forgive? Theo asked once, gentle probe. Not yet. Humanistic, yes, but boundaries were mercy's frame. Forgiveness? A horizon, not a sprint. Summer brought pilgrimage. Road trip east, Nova purring like a pardoned soul. Philly first, Jamie's shop, bay doors open to fireflies. He emerged, oil-streaked, grin genuine. Heard you settled. This the guy. Theo extended hand. Easy. Beers on his stoop followed. Laughs over old wounds, toasts to new paths. No hard feelings, Jamie said, clinking bottles. You were right, air helped. Closure warm as hearth. Atlanta last. Not confrontation but quiet claim. I drove past the old colonial, sold, new family mowing lawn oblivious. Stopped at the cemetery, empty plot marked Alexander Harlan, beloved son. Theo waited in the car as I knelt, weeds tangling fingers. You weren't beloved, but I am now. Dirt crumbled, symbolic, burying the boy they'd killed, unearthing the man. Back west, climax crested subtle. Dad's appeal denied, bars closing. News clip played on Theo's laptop, him led away, no fight left. Mom's interview. We failed him. Pray for us. No apology but fracture, humanity peeking through cracks. Our own peak. Labor Day, rooftop party in Lodo, city sprawl at our feet. Theo knelt amid fairy lights. Ring simple, silver band etched with mountains. Ethan Cole or Alex, whoever you are today, build with me? Forever. Tears blurred fireworks blooming over Coors Field. Yes. Kiss sealed. Crowd cheering oblivious. Not fairy tale. No dragons slain in single blows, but epic. Betrayals forge, resilience's blade. Fall deep in bonds. I started classes at community college, social work, turning survival to service. Theo's firm greenlit a queer youth initiative. We'd co-lead weekends, sharing scars as stars. Jamie visited Thanksgiving, bringing pecan pie and stories of a new guy. Spark reignited. Life's a garage, he joked. Fix what breaks, move on. Winter's hush brought reflection. Journal entries by wood stove, Theo sketching beside. Pages filled with gratitude, not for pain, but emergence. Parents' greed, catalyst. Jamie's fracture, teacher. Theo's steadiness, grace. One eve, snow blanketing peaks, we drove to a lookout. City lights winking below like fallen constellations. Stronger than they imagined. Theo echoed the headline that had trended post-trial, his head on my shoulder. Stronger than I imagined. I corrected, hand in his. America stretched vast, flawed, fierce. From Atlanta's humid lies to Denver's clear skies. We'd carved space. Two men, love unapologetic, humanity woven in every flaw. No tidy bows, life's not script. But in that moment, arms entwined, mountains eternal, it was enough. More than enough. A story ongoing, whispered in winds. Rise, love, endure. Epilogue whisper. Mom's final letter, spring thaw. Forgive an old fool? No return address. I wrote back once, healing. That's forgiveness enough. Sent, envelope sealed like a chapter. Not reunion, but release. And we drove on, headlights cutting dark, toward whatever dawn broke next.